Hey, welcome back to the Gooner Profile episode 8. This week we have Brian from the Alamo City Arsenal down there in San Antonio, Texas. Last week we had JP from the Gateway Gooners in episode 7. Brian has, a little bit deeper story than we've had on the show so far, kind of touching on that Gooner family idea, very much the Gooner family that we all experience when you find out someone is a Gooner. You can relate to them almost immediately, and he certainly has a little bit deeper story than what we've seen so far. So we'll hand it over to Brian to let us talk us through the relationship he has there with Alamo City and just how close-knit that group is and what that's meant to him as a Gooner and as a person. Take it away, Brian. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I guess this all kind of starts off like most or some people. I was in a really kind of dead-end marriage and just not really loving life, and found myself kind of looking for an escape. And what I found was FIFA. So I started playing FIFA on PlayStation 4. Around about 2009. Never had been much of a soccer fan at that point, but my littlest brother Randy kind of got me started with Arsenal. He was a big fan back in high school, and when you fire up the game, it asks you to pick a team. So of course I picked the Arsenal. I said, "Oh, this is Randy's team. Let me go with this." So just kind of fell more and more into it, and as things kind of progressed, my marriage didn't really work out. So at about 2010, the end of 2010, I got divorced. My divorce was finalized. And really what it was looking for something to do to fill that void. I have 2 kids, so I don't have them all the time anymore. So I have free time now. So was looking for something to fill that void, and went online to Facebook and searched out the San Antonio group. I came to find out the guy that was running the San Antonio group at that point had moved on to Houston, and the San Antonio group was basically dead. So I had contacted Arsenal America and said, "Hey, I'd be interested in redoing this group," and just had kind of set something on the Facebook Messenger board for the San Antonio group and said, "Hey, if anybody's interested, I'd love to kind of kick this back off." And another gentleman at the time saw this message and was thinking along the same lines. Actually had gone to New Orleans for a match and is a much bigger Arsenal fan than I am. Replied back to me and said, "Hey, I'd love to do this, and let's get together." And so we did. We got together. Believe it's the last week in January 2011. So midway through that 2010, 2011 run. Then at that first match, there were 5 of us that started off. Me, David Ziegler, Lori Ziegler, Nancy Baker, and Logan Duran. At that point, we didn't really know what we had. Like I said, 5 of us showed up, watched us win, had a great time, met some cool people, and the next week we did some promotion. We built a Twitter, we built a new Facebook page. I had reached out to the local sports radio guy here in San Antonio who happened to be an Arsenal fan at the time, and said, "Hey, we're starting this Arsenal group. I'd love to get a mention on the air," and he was kind enough to do that. So we kind of had built a small following, and then the next match was a 5 a.m. One of those really early matches for us. So we all got up about there, got to the bar. Wasn't really sure how many people had showed up, and we ended up with about 10 the next match, and then it was 15 the match after that, and it just slowly started building and building and building. Lucky for us, Arsenal made a great run in the FA Cup that year and won. And by the time FA Cup final was there, we probably had 100 people in the pub.
Wow.
which for us we thought was amazing for something that started in January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of taken off from there.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And so,
Um,
Brian, who typically do you run into? Is it just Arsenal fans, or do you have a major rivalry that features there at your pub?
No, actually, at our pub, we started off with Arsenal and Liverpool.
Mm,
We ran the Liverpool guys out of that pub. They
nice.
lasted about 2 matches before we kind of gave them enough business that they decided they were going to go do their own pub.
Mhm.
So they found another pub to go to. Um, the pub we had some other locations in town and kind of saw the following that we were getting and started promoting the other locations. So the other locations picked up the Manchester United group and the Tottenham group in town. There's a few Chelsea fans that go to that pub at one point. So, but that particular bar had always been an Arsenal bar. In fact, there's a gentleman here in town that runs a microbrewery, and he has his own bar, and that's kind of where he got started. And he's a big soccer guy, and people were asking him, "Hey, where can I go watch Arsenal?" And he would always point them to that bar that we were at and said, "That's the Arsenal bar in San Antonio." So that's how it we kind of kicked off our group.
Yeah, Brian, what would you say would be like the most every place has every supporters group has a unique thing that they do, whether it's an activity that they do outside of
Right.
viewing the matches or just something.
Sure.
What do we have last week, Kyle? We had like a custom beer.
Yeah, the
pints.
gateway
Sorry.
guys had do the pine. A lot of guys do the scarves and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Any charity matches, Austin Gooners right there in Texas, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
They kind of started that.
Yeah. So what about you guys, Brian? Do you have any unique, whether it's something like that or just something completely different, something that you do every game?
Yeah.
I mean, what's
we do a lot of
unique about
stuff.
yours?
Yeah, we do a lot of stuff together. We do a lot of we have a couple guys from up north, so we end up typically going to the hockey game here in town. The local minor league hockey team will go as the group, and we've had charity matches against the Liverpool guys where we raised money for a young man that had cancer, and won that match handily. So we represented well. We have a core group of about 20 of us that typically on weekends are doing something together, whether it's just hanging out, at a park or grilling somewhere or doing something. We're always doing something. And our philosophy has been a little different at Alamo City Arsenal, where we don't have a board, we don't have a president, we don't have, that kind of leadership group. Our mentality has always been, you walk into the bar and you're an Arsenal fan, guess what? You're Alamo City Arsenal now. And if you want to do scarves or pint glasses or koozies, man, we'll send you the logo and go do it. And if you want to sell them, that's great, man. If you want to donate them, that's fine too. So we have T-shirts, we have scarves, we have koozies. We really try to be inclusive of everybody. Sometimes we don't all agree about the philosophy and the way things are going with the team, but at the end of the day, it really is about family. We're one big family.
Yeah, well, and currently, Brian, you might know, I'm sure you probably do, that Arsenal America are on one of their road trips. They usually do 2 a year, but one of them is happening while we're recording this now over the Christmas period. And they just attended the Boxing Day fixture. Thankfully, we got a goal from Drew at the end there, for them to grab the winner. But I don't know if you've had a chance to head over, particularly with that Alamo City group. But I guess what would be your dream scenario, or have you had a chance to go with your Gooner family to the Mecca that is the Emirates?
No, I haven't yet. And so my son is 13, and that's going to be Christmas 2017. All of us from Alamo City Arsenal are going to go. We're going to take my son. It's the first trip I'll get to go, but like I said, the hardcore group of some of the guys that kicked it off, and then some of the other what I'd like to call single non-parents, we'll put it that way, that have this, lots of disposable income. They go every year. So but next year is definitely going to be a Mecca trip for me. It's going to be something that I'm going to really look forward to, and enjoying with my son, and just kind of soaking it all in. We're going to go during Boxing Day next year, so hopefully we'll catch about 3 matches. There's talk about seeing matches over there, and then jumping over on the train and going over to Paris and watching some other matches, and maybe even catching some lower division stuff there in London. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, definitely recommend the lower division stuff around town. I've had a chance to do that. Well, with Joel and I did it a couple of years back, and yeah, it's really, if you can do that second to the big matches, I think it's a lot more fun to do it that way than the other way around, because it's just like it's like high school football. Basically. So yeah, very cool. Well, I'm glad you get a chance to do that, and thanks for your time tonight, Brian. As we tell all our guests, I'm sure we could talk for hours about Arsenal and each of our individual groups, but we certainly appreciate your time. Thanks for jumping on. Thanks for sharing a pretty personal thing about yourself in light of the kind of the format here. That's it's a great story. It's great that you have such a tight-knit group there in San Antonio, and again, hopefully Joel and I can come down and see you guys sometime soon. So thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, we'd love to have you guys whenever y'all want.
All right. Well, have a happy new year, and we'll talk soon.
All right, guys. Thank you.
See ya.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Well, yeah, that's Brian from the Alamo City Arsenal, and when we've asked people to sign up for this to share about their Arsenal experiences and what they love about Arsenal, of course, them becoming a fan. Brian just came right out and said, I had this divorce. Alamo City are my family now, which is, I think a lot of people could relate to that. And certainly I'm married with kids, and I can certainly relate to the whole, wanting to do things with your kids someday too. Mine aren't quite old enough yet. So, but being able to do that with a 13-year-old next Christmas would be pretty darn cool. So, appreciate Brian's time. Joel, I don't know if you have anything to add before we wrap it up here.
No, I'm definitely one of those single guys, though, who it makes all kinds of income available for Arsenal. So that is me. In case you're wondering what that looks like, that's me.
Right. That was a call out for Joel McNamara there. So, all the ladies may be watching. He is single. So you got Arsenal supporter.
Arsenal ladies, not Tottenham ladies.
That's right. Right. So anyway, thanks for checking us out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't had a chance, or to our various podcast streams around the internet. You can check us out always at arsenalreviewusa.com, or any of the links below in the description of this show. So we'll see you next time on the Gooner Profile. Thanks for joining us tonight.